guidance, teacher, with side by side. Our mamas and BBA, years and great success. With truth and love, we'll conquer all. For God, our land, and SFS. Alma Mater, years and great success. With truth and love, we conquer all. For God, our land, and SFS.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Amisha Makarwar, a student of BA final year from St. Francis de Sales College, Nagpur. I'm glad to have the opportunity to welcome all of you to the day one of 1 week international conference, which is organized by St. Francis de Sales College. Talking about the college, SFS is a centrally located college in heart of central India in the state of Maharashtra. The college aims at the holistic development of its students, instilling in them the spirit of self-reliance and the desire to excel. Its objective is to impart quality teaching and rigorous training to students. SFS caters to the students a variety of academic courses under junior college, graduate, and postgraduate categories. Talking about the 1 week international conference, its theme is Global Collaborations in Science, Technology, Mathematics, and Humanities to advance the frontiers of knowledge and innovation. The motive of St. Francis de Sales College behind organizing this conference is to create a free atmosphere for interdisciplinary learning. India is famous worldwide for its multiculturalism, unity in diversity, and holding a firm belief of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. That is, the whole world is one family. But as we know, the outbreak of COVID-19 has caused many nations to become stagnant. India as well faces problems like homelessness, migrant workers, poverty, and huge population. This conference aims at finding potential solutions to these problems. For this purpose today, we have some renowned speakers amongst us, and this evening I'm profusely elated to take this opportunity to introduce our speakers of today's conference. But before that, let me steal a little time to wish all of you a very happy International Women's Day. Let this be yet another year of beautiful stories of women empowerment globally. Now, to inaugurate this international conference, an initiative taken by St. Francis de Sales College, we have amongst us His Grace, Most Reverend Archbishop of Nagpur, Elias Gonsalves. I humbly request Father Praveen D'Souza, the head of Department of Philosophy, SFS College, to please welcome and introduce His Grace. Over to you, Father Praveen.
Thank you, Amisha. Hope I'm audible and visible.
Yes, Father. Father, you're not. Yeah.
Yeah, the video is coming now, right?
Yes, Father.
Yeah, I would like to make a small announcement. We can see some participants there now and then popping up with their videos. So kindly turn off your video and keep yourselves muted so that we can have a nice evening or morning wherever we are. And I deem it my privilege and joy to introduce once again the chairman of our SFS College Education Society, His Grace, Most Reverend Elias Gonsalves. And as we know, he is instrumental in many of our programs, and aptly for this international e-conference on the topic of global collaborations, we have His Grace with us to grace the occasion and share his few valuable words with us. If I can go down memory lane, I can say that this collaboration was possible through the instrumentality of His Grace. It was last year that His Grace contacted our partners of SFS College in the US and then many other parts of the world and he made it possible that we could have a one-to-one sharing session with them, and the fruit of which we can see right now, and also we had been witnessing it in our previous collaborations. So thank you, Archbishop Ji, on that note, and I welcome you to this uh, for day one of international conference, and we are very lucky to have you time and again. You grace us with your gracious words, and kindly do so even today, sharing your thoughts and blessings. Over to you, Bishop Ji. Yeah, yeah. Archbishop Ji, kindly unmute yourself. Kindly unmute yourself.
Oh, sure. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Can
Yeah.
you hear me?
Yes, yes, Bishop.
Okay. Good evening and good morning or good afternoon, wherever you are in this part of the world. But here in India, we have today International Women's Day celebrated. And at the outset, let me wish all the women a very happy and joyful Women's Day and the year to come. So here we are once again for this inaugural session, and I'm glad that we have people across the world joining in this program. This is a kind of a program where we would like to collaborate and develop our students in this global world, to look at the global world and make this world a better place to live. It's an opportunity for me to congratulate all the organizers for this event, which is going to take place for coming days. I wish all of you and all the participants at the very outset, at the very beginning, a very, very happy and enjoyable sessions on this forum. Now at present, we are witnessing very deep changes and transformation in our societies, such as environmental, scientific and technological transformations, and cultural aspects of global world. This transformation pose huge challenges that need to be addressed. In this ever-changing and increasingly complex world, it is of utmost importance that our youth are prepared to bring knowledge and skills together to solve problems and have access to quality learning environments. Dear friends, the young people today are the future of society and agents for social change. In the words of Pope Francis, he said the youth is not just the future, but they are now, the present of today. They are very, very important factor and very important individuals for making the world a better place. So it is very important that we provide them with education and skills that will advance the frontier of knowledge. STEM education is defined as an interdisciplinary approach to learning, where the academic concepts are mixed with real world lessons. STEM education emphasizes the importance of making connections between academic knowledge and real world problems as a foundation for integrating STEM subjects in teaching. It develops critical thinking and creativeness, which are essential for a nation's growth. Dear friends, STEM education also helps students to innovate, which are important for embracing and bringing about change and for responsibly building a sound future. We are in the world today where the whole world has become a global village. The connectivity and coordination all over the world has made it possible by the technology. Technology, science, and knowledge are fundamental in the postmodern contemporary society. Essential questions include: how does science and technology produce new products, new ways of understanding? Why is new technology so fundamental to us in the ways through which we imagine or envisage the future? Dear friends, we are going through this pandemic time, and it is the technology, the science, and the research has made it possible within a shortest time ever before, the vaccine that which is produced because of the sharing of knowledge, sharing of information, and sharing with each other, remaining connected, and this has produced the great results. With the globalization of the world economy and the internationalization of innovation, resources, international collaboration has taken place all over the world. Both professional progress and knowledge extension could be provided by scientific collaboration. There is a growing consensus that emerging technologies enormously improve productivity, create more employment opportunities, and significantly stimulate economic growth, which appears to be the future trend and may be the important factor of one developing country or region realizing its economic catch-up strategy. I am glad today that our students from SFS and in our country have this opportunity to share this webinar, their ideology, listen to many experts who are giving their views and opinions. Today, as science and technology has done tremendous development, humanities researchers are turning to collaboration to find out and explore increasingly complex questions and implement new methodologies to foster new knowledge and new networks. Development of these essential skills enable us to adapt and thrive in our rapidly changing world. The evolution of higher education traces the path from STEM to STEAM. It underlies the growing importance of arts, including humanities, language, dance, drama, music, visual arts, design, and new media. The national education policy also lays emphasis on the need for interdisciplinary curriculum, a blend of the physical sciences with humanities and social sciences. Truly, the trajectory of higher education in India should follow the pathway from STEM to STEAM. From STEM to also STEAM, that which will create new energy among us. This general capabilities are crucial to grow a future-ready workforce that understands the importance of what if. When problems occur in real life, there are lots of innovative hands-on learning opportunities in schools and colleges all over the country. They encourage collaboration in learning and create intersection between arts, engineering, mathematics, science, and technology to advance the frontier of knowledge. So here we are, my dear friends, as we share our knowledge during these days, share our experiences, and remain connected with each other. I express my deep gratitude to all the efforts to make this world a better place. And I'm sure this will help all of us to foster the human interconnectedness, interpersonal relationships to grow through coordination and also through working with each other, for each other, and making this world a better place to live. So I wish once again all the best, and may God bless you and keep up the good spirit in order that we reach out to everyone, those who need information, knowledge, and improve the quality of education in our country. Thank you. God bless you. Over to Praveen.
Yeah. Thank you, Your Grace. So you have truly laid the foundation for what is going to come in the coming days. We're going to have 1 week long intellectual feast for ourselves, for our mind, intellect. And you truly touched upon some key aspects of global collaboration and how our youth of today can benefit from that, particularly the youth of our college, our faculty, and everyone connected with us on this platform. And you have said that youth are prepared towards quality learning. It's very true, very much so. And I would like to again reiterate what you said in the words of Pope Francis, that the youth or today's youth are not only the future, but they are the present. They are the here and now. I think we are richly blessed with having many youth attending this webinar, this conference, and we wish them all the best. And through your efforts and through your words of blessing, we have truly started on a good note. So once again, thank you, dear Archbishop Ji, and we seek your presence in coming days as well, and continue to motivate us and bless us with your prayers. Thank you. And I now hand over the proceedings to Amisha, and I wish everyone happy learning, happy intellectual pursuit. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Father Praveen. Now let me introduce to you our first guest speaker, Dr. Srikanth Prabhu. Sir is an associate professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, MIT Manipal. Sir has achieved MSc Honours in Mathematics, a specialization in Computer Science from Satyasai Institute of Higher Learning, Andhra Pradesh. He has also achieved MTech in Computer Science and Data Processing from IIT Kharagpur. Sir teaches many subjects like mathematics, computer organization, and architecture, and soft computing. He has also submitted research papers in Scopus indexed national and international conferences. To talk about his accomplishment, he has achieved the Distinguished Toastmaster Award. Here is success history. Today, Dr. Prabhu sir will speak on the topic Science, Society and Technology, now and into future. I request sir to please highlight the essence of the topic. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I thank Father Elias Gonsalves, Father Praveen D'Souza for the inspiring, motivating words for all of us, including me. If at all I am something today, it is because of my parents, because of my father and mother. I was living in a place close to Nagpur, which is called as Bhilai, where I was born and brought up. And one statement which still I remember from many of his colleagues, my father's colleagues, for 33 years, they said recently that he made no enemies. Because he was in a position where he was handling a lot of good responsibilities. And this statement from his colleagues till today reverberates one point inside me, that I should talk about science, society, and technology and how to make good friends. On this day, on International Women's Day, I should also say the organization where my father was working at the Steel Authority of India Limited has got the first woman chairman, Mrs. Soma Mandal. She was appointed this year, and I'm very proud of it to say it today. SAIL was started around 65 to 70 years back. My father worked there for 33 years in different positions, in different steel plants, and finally also at the headquarters in Delhi. I am alumni of Delhi Public School, Bhilai, and as my biodata was read, I have a Master of Science, a Master of Technology, and a PhD. I worked on biometric systems, and today I'm continuing it in the area of forensic engineering. Today I'm going to talk about science, society, and technology. Are you able to see it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Science, society, and technology. So I'll divide my talks into two parts. One is in the present and second is in the future. Now, what do you mean by science? It is an abstraction. What do you mean by society? It's an idea. What do you mean by technology? It's a product. Remember these three words, which are the meanings of science, society, and technology. Science means abstraction. Society means idea. Technology means product. You can call society as engineering also. Right. Now you see, science is a level of abstraction. It has got three main components: mathematics, physics, chemistry. Very important ones. Because many of you are mathematicians or would be mathematicians. Many of you are would be physicians or already you are physicians. Many of you are would be chemists or already chemists. So these are all the different subjects what we have, like calculus, applied mathematics, probability theory. You can see it here: geometry, Boolean algebra, numerical analysis, ordinary and partial differential equations. These are all abstractions. Why? Because they are all in terms of equations, numbers. We don't see anything here as a product. We just see numbers, equations, operators, operands, etc., etc. Now, physics, classical mechanics, mass, acceleration, gravitational force, G, or heat, etc., etc. Or focal length in optics, Biot-Stewart law, electromagnetism. So all these things are basically equations. We derive these equations from numbers and certain assumptions. Third one, chemistry. Organic and inorganic chemistry. Hydrogen, chlorine, three times hydrochloric acid plus once HNO3, nitric acid. It becomes aqua regia. I remember in Bhilai once one nomad came to our house and said to my mother, "Please give your gold. I will clean it." And he puts that gold in that aqua regia and it starts melting. And we came to know something was wrong. So an abstraction used for bad purpose. So these are all abstractions. They are all equations, numbers. And we know these equations and numbers can give us products. They can be either constructive or they can be destructive. So what is the interface between abstraction and products? They are all ideas. You need ideas in between abstraction, that is science, and products, that is technology. Right. Now, what do you mean by engineering? Engineering is society. The second word in my title is society here. So engineering is society or expression of ideas. It's a common misconception that science is something different, engineering is something different, technology is something different in India. And as father said, we need to get education to understand the concepts at the same level. Remember, science, society, and technology are all at the same level. And that's how it is done in the developed countries. And today it is slowly happening in India also. Right. Now, when I say society, I said they are all ideas, and that is engineering. So you have got many engineering disciplines: mechanical, electrical, electronics, computer science, biomedical, printing, automobile, mechatronics, agriculture, naval architecture, ocean engineering, and all others. Today, there is a portal which is called NPTEL. You can access this portal and get all the lecture notes on mathematics, physics, chemistry, engineering, medicine also. Medicine means clinical, management, and law. This is an Indian portal started by the Human Resource Development Department around 25 years back. But till 2 or 3 years back, it was only technical and basic science and management. Today we have clinical and also law attached, something on the lines of Coursera. So please refer this portal. Just put on Google NPTEL. Right? It is National Program Technical Education Language, I think, the full form. You can just go and check it up there. Right? So why I am putting this here is, through NPTEL, we can get all the different concepts of engineering. Even you get clinical. When I say clinical here, because it is related with technical here, National Program Technical. So I am putting clinical engineering, applications of clinical in engineering. Similarly, management engineering is also there in NPTEL. Similarly, law. So if any one of you is interested to see some of the lecture notes of different professors, all the eminent professors or anybody else of India, you can go to NPTEL and you will get some of the most simplified notes on engineering. And when I say engineering, it doesn't mean the word engineering, but it means ideas, right? It is meant for all of us, whether you are a Bachelor of Science graduate, Bachelor of Arts graduate. Remember, internet was made open to the world by Tim Berners-Lee. And Tim Berners-Lee is basically a Bachelor of Arts graduate. It was invented by Roy Fielding Thomas in the University of California, Irvine, but it was marketed by Tim Berners-Lee, who was working in CERN, Germany. And he is a Bachelor of Arts graduate. So if you take arts, or if you take sciences, or if you take engineering, or if you take clinical, or if you take management, or if you take law, all are on the same base. Not according to me, but in the hands of divine. So those days are gone where you say engineering is something very important, or technology. They are all on the same line. That's why my talk is science, society, and technology. So I have finished science, which is abstraction. Abstraction, understand what do you mean by that. They are all equations, numbers. Society means engineering or ideas. Now, what are different applications we can think of from these ideas or from any general idea? They are all like game playing, like Ludo, chess, biometric systems like fingerprinting, face recognition, disease recognition systems. This is becoming a hot subject today. Using artificial intelligence, machine learning, neural networks, deep learning, differential privacy. So if you want to write any code on healthcare management and become an aide to a clinical doctor, so you can work on disease recognition. Aviation, how to design the cockpits, how to design a fuselage. Fuselage means body of the plane. Railways is becoming a hot topic in India today. India has got the new concept of lightweight coaches, LHB coaches.
Sir,
I can say bullet. Hello.
sir, excuse me. It's going fine. Only the tab is appearing there on the presentation screen.
Huh?
A sharing tab is appearing. Please hide this. Sharing tab. No, sir. Hide. Simply click on hide. Yes, that's it.
Yeah. So India has already come with LHB coaches. If you want to know more about LHB coaches, go to Nagpur railway station at 7:30 p.m. and wait for the Gitanjali Express going towards Durg. They are all the coaches which arrive on the platform, which are called as LHB today, with bio-vacuum toilets and some of the best equipments available in the world at a very cost-effective price. We had ICF coaches, and now we are into LHB coaches for all the trains, even for the metro rail, etc., etc. Disaster management system. This is another application on which people are working on. People are making drones to find missing objects after the Malaysian Airlines 370 plane not found. Smart cities is a hot topic once again. Naya Raipur, Navi Mumbai, Greater Ranchi, New Town Calcutta, National Capital Region, Gurgaon, Noida, and many others which today look like America, including Nagpur. Smart cities have to have a metro rail, and today in India almost 17 cities are having metro rail. In my days when I was studying in school, only Calcutta had a metro which was only around 15 kilometers long, and they said no other city in India can have a metro rail. This was in the early 1990s, but today it is all history. Things are happening in India because we are thinking in terms of implementing the ideas. It is not only ideas today, but it is implementation. Veterinary science is a hot topic once again. Why I am saying this is the rankings of the colleges for the year 2021 have been released. I don't know how many of you know it. And India's 15 universities have come in top 100. In my days in school and college, not even we were in top 500. And they said in forestry, today we are number 1 in forestry. That means maintaining animals. Cheetahs, leopards, wild dogs, hyenas, lions, tigers, crocodiles, anacondas, pythons, hippopotamus, all others. In the developed countries, these are all common, but today we are getting it in India, where you can do a lot of good work in terms of research and also make good money, right? Agriculture is another field where it is said India is in the top today, right? Because of some of the alumni from some of the premier institutes who are settled abroad, they are giving back to the country. So they used to say that it is a brain drain 30 years back if IIT graduates go abroad, but it is history today. They are giving back to the country in terms of infrastructure. Sports, in hockey, we are number 4 in the world today. Hockey was wiped out from India 10 years back, and we are doing well there. Cricket, you can see women's cricket. We reached the finals of 50 overs twice and 20 overs once. I think we can't see even a single girl playing cricket in a ground in any city in the country, but still we are there. So this is what, or these are what we call as ideas. And can we convert them into products? And who are the entrepreneurs who are doing it? That I'll show you next. Infrastructure design and management. The World One coming up in Bombay. It's already come up. One of world's tallest towers. The bridge on the Chenab River, which is being constructed, 60% of the work is done in Jammu and Kashmir, which is the tallest bridge in the world, which is would be tallest bridge in the world. It is going to become. Things are happening. So all these are basically products which are coming from ideas. So these ideas were there, they were given long back. But some of the ideas were implemented in India, but some we could, mainly because of lack of resources and also money, finances. Right. Now, what are products? So that is what is the third word here, technology. Right. So you can see the products here. They are coming from the applications. Surveillance, drones. I already said drones where it comes. It comes in disaster management system, basically. Right. So drones, scanners for fingerprints, faces, retina, biometrics. Then automation architecture of buildings, making pictures of buildings. and then going for construction. Softwares for healthcare, something like CT scanner, MRI scanner. Softwares for agriculture, right? So now these softwares are being made for the smart cities, like where you can put healthcare, where you can put agriculture, where you can put a railway station, where you can put a hospital, where you can put a school, because we need to know the exact locations. Software for sports also. If you have seen in cricket, when somebody gets caught or caught behind by a wicket keeper, the slow motion is a technology. You can see one white color being formed when the ball hits the bat. So all these things are products which have been released in the recent past and now becoming a reality in the recent future in terms of maintenance. Even geopolitics, the Red Cliff line along Pakistan, the McMahon line along China, the Durant line between Pakistan and Afghanistan. How do you do the automation? How do you make pictures? Because you can't go and see the whole Red Cliff line. You want to see it in a picture. So that is automation. So they are all products. So it makes sense when I say we have science, which is abstraction, society, which is idea or which are ideas, technology, which is a product or which are products. Right. Now, who are the entrepreneurs? They are called tycoons. And they are all Indians. Sun Microsystems started in America by Vinod Khosla after 1995. Vinod Khosla is basically a BTech graduate from IIT Delhi. The first Indian CEO for McKinsey, Rajat Gupta, appointed by Bill Clinton in the year 1993. Who is the co-founder of HCL? They are all products. Sun Microsystems is a product, is a company from where Java came into existence. McKinsey is a consultancy firm. Once again, it's a product which either directly or indirectly produces money, rupees or dollars. HCL is a hardware company. Co-founder is Arjun Malhotra. He is an alumni from IIT Kharagpur, and Shiv Nadar. You have heard this name, Shiv Nadar. He is the founder. Internet was made open to the world by Tim Berners-Lee from a PhD thesis by Roy Fielding Thomas in the year 1994. Wipro, the founder is Azim Premji in 1981. There's a big history about this. Azim Premji's dad was called by Muhammad Ali Jinnah, the founder of Pakistan, to come to Pakistan and start a company there. At that time, Azim Premji's dad was running a company called as Rice Mill of Bhutan. They were selling soaps and oil, soap called as 780. Then when IBM was sent out from India in the year 1978, when Morarji Desai was the prime minister, because IBM was interested only in making American products. At that time, Azim Premji thought, why can't I start a microcomputer? And rest all is history, which is called as Wipro. Infosys, a company started by Narayan Murthy, Nandan Nilekani, and both of them, they're alumni from Kanpur IIT. Google, a story which is very motivating. It came from a research paper called as Rank Paging Algorithm, written by Rajiv Motwani, Larry Page and Sergey Brin at Stanford University. Rajiv Motwani was a professor there. He is no more. He is a BTech from IIT Kanpur. Larry Page and Sergey Brin, they are both dropouts from Stanford University who were his students. They dropped out and converted this research paper into a company which is called as Google today, which is a rich history. China came with its own Google, started by Robin Lee in the year 2000, which is called as Baidu. India had its own Google called as Guruji, but it failed. And 1 month back, it was said India is going to come with its own Google called as Niva. It will be started as a beta version product from America by two Indian employees who are dropped out, who have come out of Google, and they're going to start Niva. Sundar Pichai, he became a rich history because it was his G-Chrome web browser, which he said is more powerful than Bing, started by Microsoft. And he marketed it in the year 2006. And that is how he was selected by Google, because it is Google Chrome. And he won over Satya Nadella and he became the Google CEO. Satya Nadella, anyway, he became the Microsoft CEO before. Now, the other companies which were started by Indians are Ola, Oyo, Paytm, Immobile, Swiggy, Zomato, Musicma. These are all the companies started by Indians. Many of them are IIT graduates and many of them are graduates from other colleges also, Premier and other great colleges of India, all the noble colleges, whether be it basic science or technology or clinical or management or law. Remember, I am amalgamating everything as science, society, and technology. So when I say technology, entrepreneurship is very important. Think on these lines. Think out of the box. Don't think only from the perspective of a textbook. Can I get an idea? Can I convert the idea as a prototype? And an idea means society. So you need to talk to people. You need to listen to people. So people is very important in society. Get ideas and convert them as prototypes. Don't procrastinate and think of starting a new company, because India needs more jobs. To create more jobs, we need entrepreneurs. All right. Give to society through abstractions. Ideas means society. Ideas means society or societies. Generate technologies, you get it back in double honorarium. Last but not the least, Mr. Malaya Mukherjee, he's one of my dad's colleague at SAIL, the youngest executive director at the age of 41 at Bhilai Steel Plant. He went and joined Lakshminarayan Mittal Steel as COO. One second. As COO. And then he joined JSW Steel as CEO and Zindal Steel as CEO in the recent last 10 years. This happened in the last 25 years, whatever he achieved. In the bargain, he helped generate high-speed rails in developed countries, and now he got this concept to India for LHB coaches and ICF coaches and hybrid coaches with aluminium rails. So this is what is giving back to country. So if you want to convert ideas to prototypes and then getting a startup company, get more exposure, talk to people, get more exposure, go abroad, see what is there and get those concepts back to India. Sundar Pichai is a very inspiring story for all of us, and I'll tell you what he did. Installing internet Wi-Fi connections in more than 5,000 railway stations in India is done by Google today. So it is hearty that 30 years back or 25 years back, Sundar Pichai went to America. At that time, people might have thought, what is his contribution? Today, we are seeing his contribution in rich history. This is what he should do, right? Now, I just the last part of my talk. I just run through this. Now, what do you mean by communication and leadership in science, society, and technology? Right? You can call communication and leadership as history piece through disease recognition. If you want to have a good history and world peace, okay, one second, and world peace, you should have good disease recognition. That means you should be a good communicator and you should be a good leader. So this is the second part of science, society, and technology. So after making products, a good communicator and a good leader. So what are the things we have here? One is competent communication. The meaning of competent communication is you should communicate well, listen well. Now, there are three parts here. One is communicating well. Second is communicating on certain ideas which have been given to you on the spot. And third is listening. So when you listen, you do good evaluations. So there are various parts here like icebreaker. Icebreaker means on the spot you want to speak. Organizing your talk. Get to the point when you listen. How to tell it. How to make your body speak. Vocal variety. Research your topic. Make visual aids. Persuade the people to ask questions. Then inspire your audience. So once you inspire your audience, your product is very good. So this is one topic on which you can work on currently on COVID-19. So one of my PhD students is working on COVID-19, right? So there are various other things you can do in communication and leadership. You can join Rotary or you can join Toastmasters, and you can do certain philanthropic activities. And once again, you can have good abstractions to get good ideas and convert them into products. So this is competent leadership. So for that, you should be a good listener. You should be a good critical thinker. You should give good feedback, hurting others. You should be good in time management. Planning and implementation should be good. Organization, delegation should be good. Facilitation, motivation, mentoring, coaching. So there is a subtle difference between mentor and coach. Mentor is a person who guides you. Coach is a person who corrects you in a positive way. Then team building. So for communication and leadership, you should have good public relations. So if you communicate well, you become a good leader. So there's a connection between both communication and leadership, and that is public relations with the society. Now society means ideas, I already told you. So these are all the different ways what you can do. Then these are all special occasion speeches on any weddings. So once you give good speeches on your friend's wedding, say suppose, you become a good communicator. People listen to you. You become a good leader. You become a good public relation officer. You need to entertain sometimes people with your humor. Then you have to become professional sometimes. So these are all situation based, basically. Sometimes you have to give good technical presentations. So when you say technical, it does not mean you should have a BTech degree. It is basically you should have good abstractions, good ideas, and you should have good technologies. Then specialty speeches. Now specialty speeches are basically on the spot. So wherever you go in the world, whether you're in Nagpur or whether you are in your house at Nagpur or whether you are anywhere in India or go somewhere in the world, you should have your concept set right. So these are all the ways basically. So abstraction, ideas, and products is the main or are the main goals for everybody. For that, you should be a good communicator and you should be a good leader. Then you can make a good history. You will get world peace. And if you have good history and good world peace, we will have good disease recognition. So we can remove COVID-19 immediately from this world. And we can be champions of the divine. Thank you very much for calling me for this conference. I hope I was clear with what I said. If you have any questions, I'm very glad to answer them. All right. Anybody? Any questions? Any questions? Any questions?
Priyanka Pandey, you raise your hand.
Please ask questions. This is a topic where you should ask questions. Critical thinking, innovation, problem solving. Critical thinking, innovation, and problem solving is nothing but science, society, and technology. Critical thinking, innovation, and what I said, tell me, Amisha. Critical thinking, innovation, and what? Problem solving.
Problem solving.
Yes. So this is the theme of your conference: critical thinking, innovation, and problem solving. Critical thinking is nothing but science. Problem solving is nothing but society. What is remaining? Tell me. Innovation. Innovation means technology, science, society, and technology. Is that clear? Any questions you can bombard? Right. Anybody? So I would like to ask a question to all the SFSians, would-be SFSians, and to all my faculty colleagues. Any critical thinking you have at this moment? Anybody? Any critical thinking you have at this moment? Any critical thinking you have at this moment? Anything? I said Gitanjali Express in the Nagpur railway station. It is going to become now 650. I think Chhattisgarh Express comes at the same time in Nagpur station. So I given you an example, right? Critical thinking. You can think about anything. Anything. It can be anything. You can just become mad when you want to become an entrepreneur. And that is what Tim Berners-Lee was. In 1991, when the Soviet Union broke, at the same time, computers and internet came into existence. I was in class 10 at that time. You people are all very fortunate. You are having internet, smartphones. You don't have to do critical thinking. Everything is there on your fingertips. Thinking. Any problem you can think of now, any problem. Cycle rickshaws have been removed from Nagpur. Even in Bhilai, you can't find a cycle rickshaw today. I was talking to Dilip yesterday. So it is basically a critical thinking. We don't want cycle rickshaws. We want to give better skills to people, like rickshaws. I have seen in Calcutta, in Newtown, Calcutta, so that people will get better lives. And that is what is science, society, and technology. People should get better lives. Critical thinking, problem solving, innovation. Any innovation you can think of. Today you are hearing to me on a new topic. That itself is an innovation. So it will become an innovation for me, right? So please think on these lines and please ask questions whenever somebody asks you to ask. Interesting, right? Anything for that matter.
Yeah. Dr. Prabhu, can you hear
Yes,
me?
sir. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah, it will take little time for my video to come on.
Yeah.
You've beautifully spoken about critical thinking, problem solving, and innovation. And you
Yeah.
also said that one of your students is doing his PhD on the lines of COVID-19.
Yes.
So can you just enlighten us how this topic COVID-19 can be seen from the perspective of critical thinking, problem solving, and innovation? And
Yeah.
what can be our contribution? Especially, you said that all our great minds, those who went abroad, they have immensely contributed not only to the nations outside, but to even our country when they came back. So how can we see COVID-19 in the scenario?
Yeah. But I stand corrected here. It is not only the people who went abroad. It is all of us who are in the country also. We have contributed. All of us.
I stand corrected. Yes.
Yeah.
I stand corrected.
No, sir. It was my mistake. I did not say that. Sometimes that statement can be misunderstood.
Yeah.
So it is all of us. But I remember 35 years back, it used to be said, people who go abroad, it's a brain drain. But today I am corrected. When I see people contributing back, Dr. Naresh Trihan, who started escorts at Delhi, and the Medanta Medicity in Delhi, a low-cost hospital. Many others for that matter, not only these people, there are many others. Even my father went to the US in the 5th batch of engineers from Durgapur Steel Plant, and he was there for around 2 years, and then he came back and he contributed. So now coming back to your question, COVID-19. Right. Now what is critical thinking here? Now, if you recall, 1 year back when COVID-19 was a menace, people died in Italy. Many people lost their lives in America for the lack of ventilators, for the lack of ICUs. Even in developed countries, hospitals were finding it difficult to control. So what now, after seeing what happened in India, India has controlled it better because of all of us. We did not see that many fatalities because our government prepared us by putting a lockdown, right? And then things continued. Now, coming to the critical thinking part, we thought, if at all in a hospital, there are 15 ventilators and there are 40 patients who are having corona. They have been diagnosed with corona. Now, the question is, who wants the ventilators more? They are all the elderly people. Specifically, people suffering from diabetes, high blood pressure, cholesterol, bad cholesterol, thyroid problems. So they need to be given. So we thought of writing certain software codes for making priorities. This is a very simple thing. So this is a creative idea because youngsters can survive. Youngsters who don't have any morbid problems, comorbid problems like these, they can survive without a ventilator. They can be on quarantine for 14 days at home and they can survive. So this is one way of looking at it. Now, what is problem solving? Now, the meaning of problem solving is, if my hospital ICU is totally occupied, say there are 40 beds, all 40 beds are occupied. Now, can I add 5 more beds? Can I add? It is not possible because ICU has certain dimension. Hospital has certain rules. They have to go by Medical Council of India rules. So can I write a software code by which I can attach an ICU inside the home only, a home ICU, like a home theater, so that through telemedicine, I think you understand what is telemedicine, right? It is online. It's online. So doctor will ask for the symptoms through internet, and there will be a registered medical practitioner near my house who might not be a MBBS or MD, and that registered medical practitioner will send all the data to the clinician in the hospital, and the clinician will review the data, and he will give a solution saying that whether the patient requires medicines or no. So this is basically what is called telemedicine. Telemedicine is being applied today for even HIV. If you know, today research has so far advanced that if a person gets infected with HIV, if the antiretroviral drugs are taken properly, that HIV patient will not pass it on to his or her partner. It has been proved worldwide. So HIV research has gone to that extent. So if it doesn't go to the partner, and if that partner is a female, it will not go to the child. So this much the research has progressed. Now coming back, when I say problem solving, innovation, what is innovation? The meaning of innovation is, can I find certain replacement for, say, corona drugs? If you remember 1 year back, even antiretroviral drug, the person gets back once again corona, or if a person gets newly infected, what are the reasons? Right? And once again, if we find the reasons, correct reasons, then we can avoid a fatality. That is our claim. So basically, when I say creativity, it is basically trying to find out the priorities for the patients with COVID-19. What are the priorities for elders? What are the priorities for youngsters? What are the priorities for adults who have been infected with COVID-19? Right? Who has to get treatment first? Who is next? Like in operating systems in computer science and engineering, we have got, or in BSc computer science, we have got a word called as preemption. You know what is preemption, right? Preemption means, suppose say I am treating a young patient with COVID-19. Suddenly in my clinic, an elderly patient comes who is totally in an unconscious state with COVID-19. Now my priority should change. I should leave that youngster and go to the patient who is an elderly patient. And then find out whether a ventilator is required. And if a ventilator is not available, we cannot remove the ventilator from somebody, right? So can we have a concept of telemedicine online and make an online advertisement to get some extra ventilators and then going ahead? This concept, what I said now, can be applied in any clinical branch for road accidents. If there is a road accident, telemedicine will come very handy. In India now things are changing even for human beings and animals. Right? If you recall, during COVID-19 time, all over the country, so many dogs, street dogs were fed by NGOs, by people like us, and they got better lives. And today, if you see a new virus, not a new virus, a virus for animals has attacked in Bangalore and Calcutta called the parvovirus. It has not become very dangerous, it has been controlled. And we give vaccinations for the pets for parvovirus. Even I have pets, so I know it. So what I mean to say by creativity, innovation, and problem solving here is, if I can get better solutions for COVID-19 patients in terms of priority, can I transfer that knowledge to any other disease like parvovirus in canines, in veterinary? And that is a great social service for the animals. Because if we have better animals, if we have clean animals, if we have hygienic animals, the problems of diseases will go away from the world. As Mahatma Gandhi said, any country's image is seen from the way we treat our animals. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Amisha, continue. Yes.
I hope you got it, sir.
Yes, sir. Very much. More than satisfied. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. It was a delightful experience listening to your concepts, ideas, and strategies that definitely will hold the society at the topmost position.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. I thank Thomas, sir. And all the other speakers also, because they are all my colleagues in the previous conferences, and we are going to continue in the same way. Perhaps on a greater note in terms of product development, in terms of idea development, we want success. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
It's now time to introduce to you all our second speaker, Professor Majid Gomainy. Sir is originally from Iran and now resides in Turkey. He serves as a professor at the University of People. Sir has a bachelor's degree in computer engineering and master's degree in software engineering. Sir has published 5 books in the field of programming and many papers in national journals on artificial intelligence. Sir has had many roles, including a programmer, system analyst, and as a researcher in the Research and Development Department of the Complex Dynamics Group at Middle East Technical University. This evening, Sir is going to speak on an interesting topic, a new attitude and potential applications in education. I now request Dr. Gomainy to please elaborate his thoughts on the topic. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Good evening to from India, to the USA, and to everybody who are listening us. Big thanks to the people who is interested in making brave effort organizing this conference. It will be helpful. It's a good opportunity to knowledge each other. And I'm very glad to see again my again this. Uh, Let me first share my screen. Okay, this is there. You have anything? Can you see the screen? You can hear.
Yes, sir. Yes, yes. It is visible.
So okay, let me go on. The for this conference, machine learning and the potential application in the education. So go on. For the outlines for my brief introduction and then a background. I'll talk about the education and then part and the most important application of in the education. Okay, let's go to the introduction part. Actually, look at the expansion of the machine learning and AI is absolutely clear for everybody in all of the aspects of your life. You can see the usage of the machine learning and AI from your, as the professor said, mobile telephone in your smartphone to other parts. They are very sensible. So, so first of all, the AI will not replace the teachers. It's a tool to help them to have education. AI provides more hybrid models, increasing creativity by the students' potential. It's very important thing that we're going to find how the students.
Sir,
Sorry,
sir, there's a problem in voice actually.
let me hide this.
Can you do one thing? Just remove that headphone and talk.
Is the problem in my voice?
Voice is not clear actually.
Is it okay now?
Remove that headphone socket from the laptop.
Okay, so
If it is possible for you to talk without using that headphone, so please try.
now is better.
Yes, yes, it is better than earlier, much better.
Okay, okay. Now let us go on. Uh, as we have many listeners here, and I don't know the actual background of this the listeners, so everybody can have a different background and different level of knowledge. This is also a big problem in our school. You know, when you are going to a classroom, you face with 13 students with different background, with different level of knowledge, and it's very difficult to present a concept for all the helpful. I will talk about it later. This is one of the problems that AI is going to solve. Before starting the main problem, I'm going to little about what the AI, machine learning, and look. Actually, the machine learning is a concern with the design and develop of algorithms and techniques that allows computer to learn or classify in general. Learning and classifying are very close. That is, the data as input, and you can make the classify the feature to the possible output. So what is the data science? Data science is using data, raw data, and use of data, generate the valuable information, the information which can be used for a specific reason. Say AI and machine learning is a flag which is grounded in the intersection of several different disciplines. You know, it's very uh, multidisciplinary issue. In the coming slide, I'll show you a graph, and you can see the different disciplines. Okay, again, to continue our background, let us a little talk about more detail to see what does data scientists do. So actually, in the right side, I have a graph. I'm not sure you can see my mouse pointer or not. So again, we have a data collection part, and again, there are different sources that you can keep and store your data. And then with the different connections, you can lead them to the specific services or different applications you want to use those data. So in general, data scientists actually, first of all, try to identify the data analytic problem. So there are different data analytic methods and ways, so you have to find the best. After that, determine the correct data source, how we can gather the data, and then extract, transform, and load. This is ETL phase. And mine the source from the big data and analyze and integrate the data. It's a very brief and very summarized form because I cannot talk very in detail at this point. Okay, again here I have another diagram. This diagram shows how you can feed the data from a data storage to different parts of services, including the federated service part. This is the centralized data hub, and then you can feed it to the specific application that you design this storage. I have a Venn diagram that shows, I told you, the artificial intelligence is the intersection of many interdisciplinary fields. So as you see here, out of the programming and computer science, again, it's at the intersection with statistics, mathematics, and communication, business, and etc. So in the different area, you can find the intersection and see what are the job and what are the activation there. Okay, so I think everybody knows the most important programming language which are used for the machine learning are C++, Python, R, Java, and etc. Okay, this was a brief background to understand what is the concept, general concept of machine learning. And now let us have a look to the online education. The COVID-19 as you know, lead us toward more online platform. Actually, I am currently teaching in an online university, and before COVID-19, about 15 to 20. But today we have 55,000 students. So that means most of the education person, teachers, students are coming toward the online platform. Although the machine learning and artificial intelligence have a role inside the traditional education system, but for make it better, riverbed for expansion, because all is in the computer and all is in the digital form, and it will help us to gather more data for analyzing and fixing our goals. Okay, now let us start our most important part, that is machine learning in education. Let us see how machine learning help the education become better. AI and machine learning not only assist a better education, but make it big revolution. Few slides I will show you how the machine learning make a revolution in the. First of all, pay attention to this level of education from the primary school till postgraduate. AI and machine learning can be used, and is not restricted to any field of education. Someone can think this is only for computer science, but no, it's for any other fields, like for example mathematics, social science, and etc. So for any other field can be used. I have some common usage of the machine learning field of education. These are general and common, everybody knows it, and again briefly let me have a point out this. Libraries, bookkeeping, and resource center. Again, with using the machine learning, you can access better and faster to search for your the resources with very high speed. An issue is the peer assessment. In the online system, I want to make an example here to understand better. System in online education system, we have a peer assessment. The students make the assignment, and each student is going to be assessed by three other students. If the, for example, question is in the mathematics, perhaps CD is 5, so we know the answer is 1. If the answer is correct, the assessment is the same. If it's not correct, it's 5 is better. So, but if the question is, for example, a programming assignment, write a program to do this, write a program to do that. The assignment is an English essay, write an essay, for example, about this. So, the computer can understand the peers are assessing correct or not. So we don't know the exact answer, and there are many answers that they can be. So again, this is one of the usage of machine learning, which already we are using in our university, and the peer assessment is very, very good thing, and make enhancement the concept of learning, because each student can see, think, and other students' idea to how solve a problem. Anyway, we have no so much time, so I cannot go into the detail. Again, another usage is for plagiarism issue. It's an important matter, and searching and finding the web different resources is not very easy. Again, data mining and machine learning can help us with this issue. For the protected exam, and again, with different techniques, so again, can use it. Okay, let's go fast. Here are the new innovations of the machine learning in the education. The previous one was the general thing that everybody almost is introduced with, but here we have new ideas in the education. First of all, the problem is the different background and level of students. At the beginning of my speech, I mentioned that I don't know the listener are in which level and what is the background of the listener. So I cannot provide a good matter for everyone. So with 30 students, for example, you enter to the classroom and try to teach you on a new concept. So some students have background, some have not. some are very good to learning, some is not. Problem to measuring and evaluating their level of education system, traditional education system is very strict and static work, and everybody have to use it. But we have different students with different background, with different level, and with different taste. Uh, let's see here, AI and machine learning in measuring student taste and intent can lead them toward a better goal. How you can go to the better goal? Okay. Another important issue in the education system is score-based learning exam. I think this issue is very important for everybody, and all of the students have a problem with this. At the current system, we are trying to learn some concept, and then for measuring the level of learned concept, we can use the exams. With using the exam, we can understand the students learn or not. But do you think this is the exact method for measuring the level of understanding in the students? I mean, how actually do exams evaluate the students? For example, you have an exam, one student enters the exam, I don't know, got 65 score from 100. So does it mean that the student actually knows 65 percentage? The student have 65 percentage of that matter? Actually, no. I believe the exam results is not exactly showing the level of understanding for the student. I have two examples, and you can understand better. For example, if you make an exam and you have 30 students and they have different grade after that exam, if you repeat exam with another group of questions, another set of the questions, for example, with the same syllabuses, with the same curriculum, with the same concept and material, but different questions, you will see the result of the exam will be different for different students. And another example is this: if you use again the same question, but in another time, today you make this exam, and again after 1 week with the exam with the another, again the same question, again you will see the result will be different. So the result of exam actually are not very pure evaluation of what the students are understand. This is a common sentence that already we have heard from the student. I knew it, but I just couldn't do it in the exam. Big problem. So, in another hand, the concept in the material we are teaching in the classroom are either test driven, that is, they are important for exam, or they are goal driven, important for the future career. So, you know that when you are going to try to design the question for the exam, easily is not possible to ask all concepts in the exam. There are many limits and restrictions, and the behavior of the exam does not allow to ask anything in the exam time. Just try to learn material that are important to pass the exam. But later you will see, for example, if a student got 100 from one course, and in the coming future life, expect this student have a best job in the possible career for him, but actually this is not confirmed. The most important point here is this: the result of exam should not be fail or pass. At the moment, the student enters the exam and result is fail or pass. But we know that anybody have potential, different knowledge. The biggest feature of the machine learning and AI in the education system is change of the exam, so that after exam the student can understand which area, which subject, which subfield are better to continue. computer science, I don't know, someone is interested in the programming, someone in the computer graphics, someone in the animation, and etc., artificial intelligence, and etc. We are close to the end. Here I want to go some detail inside the techniques and see how the machine learning help us to arrange and organize this problem and find solutions. One of the best tools here is the knowledge graph. Knowledge graph represents the relation and direction of all individual learned concepts. In the right hand, as you see, we have a graph. I am not sure you are seeing my mouse pointer or not. And there are arrows that show the relation and directions. So, for example, this is again for a student in the computer engineering, in the pre-college, in the college, in the graduated education, and finally in the professional life. So the concepts are linked to each other. For example, different concept in the computer science, maybe a part in mathematics, a part in the statistics, a part in the probability, a part in the programming, a part in the operating system, and etc. So how they are related to each other and how they are important to pass and find a better total concept from the our education stage. So I'm very interested that this graph look variant for different students. As I told you, the students have different background, have different level of intelligence, and different taste. As graph here, we have, as you see, a big network. This consists of many nodes and many links that shows how the concepts are related to each other. And one of the aim of the machine learning here is to gathering this knowledge and interpreting and find the weakness point and the potential for each student. And again, as I told you, these are different for different variant students. So depend the analyze the data, we can lead the student in a better situation, better goal. Okay, got the last page conclusion. So we know that the machine learning and artificial intelligence are using in the education system, and actually, as I mentioned, with those examples and those problems, educational system or educational system needs a big change, and AI and machine learning would be the main column, the main factor of this revolution. These are my references, and finally, thank you for listening, and please let me know if you have any questions.
We are sorry, sir, but due to the shortage of time, and we have one more session left, so we are not in a position to welcome questions right now.
Let me stop my sharing. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Through your ideas, we got a unique exposure towards evolution in education. Your exemplary way of putting forth ideologies and your vast knowledge gave us insights into new arenas.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Now, without taking much of your time, I would like to introduce to you all our next guest speakers, Dr. Alison Binger and Dr. Mike Lees. Dr. Binger has a PhD in Global and Comparative Studies in Education, an MD in Art Education with focus in cultural arts. Her recent research includes an exploration of cultural tendencies in education and remote learning, becoming a global citizen, creating community in online learning, and women's role in global arts. She is professor at the University of People in their MH department. We also have Dr. Mike Least with us. Sir is a professor of religion and philosophy. Sir holds a PhD in education with main focus on concentration in global and comparative education. The courses taught by Sir includes religion, ecology, introduction to religion and Eastern and Western philosophy. His areas of research include spiritual eco-literacy, secular and non-secular, and emerging adulthood. Dr. Lees is the author of Religions of the World, Spirituality and Practice. This evening, Dr. Binger and Dr. Lees would be elaborating on the topic Cultural Competency and Spiritual Eco-Literacy. I humbly request our speakers to please take over the session.
Thank you. I'm Dr. Alison Binger, and Dr. Lees and I are coming from, can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Okay. Okay. So we're coming from America. We're on the East Coast. I'm in Pennsylvania, and Mike, you are in?
I'm over here in New Jersey.
Yeah. So it's morning actually for us. It's Monday morning. I believe it's Monday evening for all of you. So this is exciting. I'm very thankful we're presenting. I'm going to share my screen now. So I'm going to be talking about something called cultural competency and understanding culture in a global world. So cultural competency is a topic now because of the increased globalization in society. Technology has changed a lot, and we're able to really interact. Years ago, this conference wouldn't even be happening. So this is a great example of how cultures can intermix. I have 3 daughters, and they're young, they're in their teenage years, and they play games with students all over the world. And I'm sure that's happening in India as well. It's really exciting, and I'm really happy for them that they're able to converse kind of in other languages, and they're picking things up way quicker than I picked things up. So I think it's an exciting time to be alive for sure. So cultural competency also comes about because when those mixing of cultures happens, there can be inequality, bias, and breakdown in cultural communications. So we're going to experience that probably more and more until we understand how to communicate effectively with each other and not hurt one another. I'm going to start a video on what cultural competency is. It's about 3 minutes. Oh, I apologize. Hmm. Okay, so this doesn't work, then we'll... Oh, I so apologize for that. So in the video, we talk about, or I show images and explain the various components to cultural competency. So one is knowing other cultures that are different than yourself. And in that process of learning another culture, you end up learning about your own culture. And also suspending judgment, gathering other people's points of views and then synthesizing them, seeing differences in others, and leading with courage and empathy. So the importance of cultural competency, it increases communication for all of us. It's allows effective interactions, and it reduces negative behaviors, beliefs, and actions. It makes it a much more peaceful and better world for all of us. What happens is when people who are different interact, there tends to be 6 stages you go through. Your egocentric stages, which you're focused on yourself. And last 3 are ethno-relative, not only seeing yourself, but you're seeing other people around you. So the first stage is called denial of differences. And this stage, you're thinking, excuse me, in your mind that your culture is the only real culture. Like you put an emphasis on you and your culture. Excuse me. And then the second one is defensiveness. And that is the thinking of like mind, you're thinking we are superior and they are inferior. And then the third is minimalizing differences, which is trivializing or romanticizing another culture, such as like we're colorblind. So it's a little bit better, but at the same rate, you're not recognizing and a respect for those differences. Once you hit stage 4, you are looking not just within yourself, but you're looking in the outside world. So the 4th one is acceptance of difference. And you're thinking, I accept that there are differences, but you might not agree with them. The 5th one is adaptation to differences, and you can see the world through different eyes, and you are willing to make changes as you need to adapt to differences so that you can still work and communicate well together. Last one is integration of differences, and it's when you can fluidly move in and out of not only your own culture, but other people's culture as well. So move into spiritual eco-literacy.
Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you, Dr. Binger. Well, kind of rolling that over and thinking about cultural competency, and you're talking about the word culture. One of the first words that jumps in, story. Wow, culture is story, culture is expression, culture talks about who, what, when, where, why, and how we are in this world. And I get very excited about that. You know, when I think about culture and think about all of us hanging out here as Cosmos Sapiens on planet Earth, doing life on planet Earth, to me, the place and space that we find such a beautiful aspect of who we are and how we function in this world is expressed through culture. It's our stories, it's our songs, it's our dances, it's our food, it's how we think about who, what, when, where, why, and how we are in this world. And I always get really excited about that because I love hearing human stories. I am a giant fan of stories. But that idea of stories, I've been thinking about it a lot over the last numbers of years and came across a theory that was existing a while back that was started up by somebody named Fritjof Capra. And that theory that I got into was something called eco-literacy. Eco-literacy is not necessarily just reading books. We're sitting here talking about eco-literacy for a second here. I want to first kind of define the word spiritual and kind of put these two words together. So you have something like eco-literacy. Eco-literacy is learning how to read the world using our head, which is cognitive processes. And here we're talking is the heart, which is intelligence. And here we're talking social, emotional, and space. Third is the hands. Life is hands-on. We touch, we taste, and we experience our environment, and we experience our world as a being that's running around here in such a beautiful place. And the last word that was traditionally used in eco-literacy and defining eco-literacy was the word spirit. Originally, when eco-literacy was defined by Capra, the word spirit encompassed pretty much just language. The idea there that as beings of planet Earth, as warm-blooded mammals moving around on planet Earth and participating in massive and beautiful systems and niches and places, the idea of language is something that is unique to all beings on this planet. Language basically being how we connect our experience of the world to who, what, when, where, why, and how we do what we do. So traditionally, eco-literacy, as a definition, was learning how to read the world using those faculties of who we are. I came across this over the last decade or so, and have always been very excited about Capra. I found myself wondering when I hit that last point of spirit and defining eco-literacy only in terms of language. I was like, well, yeah, language is part of that, but then there's the story that comes with language. And so for me, this is where I brought the word spiritual to eco-literacy recently. One way that I wanted to ground that idea is eco-literacy is traditionally a very objective approach. It's dealing with a lot of the sciences and a lot of the critical thinking that was mentioned a little earlier. And so it grounds it in a very objective approach to thinking about who we are. It kind of dabbles subjective. I was like, well, when we think about this idea of objective and how we work with our relationships to life and living, so you got to connect that objective with the subjective. And to me, there's no better word to think about the subjective experience of who we are. When I say subjective, I'm talking about what we feel. That energy reacts to objective experience in this world. Remember, again, my brain is out here just trying to working with information process. It's a cognitive engine in here, this memory storage, and all kinds of stuff that's happening in my life. So much knowledge how the file systems go, and the file systems go, oh, so much information I got to store in there. Well, then there's the aspect of us that connects with that information and then does something with that information. And to me, that's where the word spiritual comes into play. When I think of the word spiritual, to me, the word spiritual can be in either religious or non-religious terms. When I think of the word spiritual, I think the way I think of defining it or have defined it is that spiritual is purpose. It's meaning making, and it's also motivation. That idea of having spirit this morning is what got me out of bed to sit here this morning and talk with all beautiful people from around the world right now and go, yeah, hi, I'm doing over here. What are you doing over there? What's your story, right? So to me, that spiritual aspect of who we are as human beings, I can see the idea, and I argue that the idea is that you can introduce this word spiritual into any of the disciplines of study that are out there. And that idea of making meaning behind what you're doing helps infuse me with an energy and a purpose and a motivation to bring to the world. And I've heard that beautifully said here in the undertones of the conference, and that idea of looking for the interconnectivity. So with that said, spiritual eco-literacy is you, our story of self, other, us, earth, non-human inhabitants, as well as the cosmos. It's the other thing that always blows me away. Every time I wake up each morning, I'm sitting here going, wow, cool, okay. I still have my immediate experience of the world. I'm living and breathing. Boom, the sun's coming through the blinds. Hey, suddenly that picture just got a little bigger. So when you talk about this idea of spiritual eco-literacy kind of provides an approach to seeing all the multi-layered things that are happening in our lives. If you're so kind, Alison, to hit the next slide.
Yeah, thank you.
with that idea of spiritual eco-literacy, there's an idea here of learning how to see the world. Alison was talking about, she dropped the word lenses, which always gets me very excited. Dropped the word lenses, different ways of seeing each other, experiencing each other, and experiencing this life. One thing that I've done here with this idea of spiritual eco-literacy is to bring 3 lenses to spiritual eco-literacy. Well, there's 3 ways we can talk about our meaning making, purpose, and motivation in this life, in this world, and learning how to read it. Again, I want to emphasize in learning how to read it, I've also heard, as we've been talking here this morning, the words creativity dropped. I've heard innovation dropped. I've heard critical thinking dropped. Another word I'd like to add to that too is problem solving. All of this is aimed at problem solving. First presentation talking about, well, what can we do inside the ecosystem of India in that context of making getting around for people easier. It's amazing how much that can be taken for granted. So spiritual eco-literacy, reading the world with the head, heart, hands, and spirit that's infused with meaning. And that first lens starts off on the personal level. Well, yeah, it's you and the world. Welcome to it. Take a look at who you are. Think about who you are. Various traditions from around the world have different practices of meditation and yogas and tantras and different engagements that you can get in. Or you can just be a philosopher and just sit there with critical thinking and logic and reason and get into, who am I? What do I got going on? It's an important question. I do not think it's a selfish question. It's very important when you're talking about that personal lens to, know what you got going on, know what makes you tick, because knowing what you got going on and knowing what makes you tick is going to be the reason why you might decide to do a job you're going to do, because 1, I like it, I know a lot about it, and I feel strongly about it. So I'm going to take that objective knowledge I'm learning in the academic arena while you're here in college, soaking up tons of information. Take time to process that information becomes very important. That's where the spiritual eco-literacy comes into play. Think about the purpose for why I'm learning what I'm learning, and then what can I do with that? Personally speaking, how am I going to employ that in my life? This obviously is going to scaffold to the social lens. The social lens here we're talking about with the social lens, my contact with my immediate world. We're talking about living in a world today that's functioning on a personal, local, and global level. If I have my immediate experience, my wife, my dog, our little home right here, that's first and foremost in my field of vision waking up in the morning. And then as the world expands more and more, this morning I decided to wake up apparently at one point in time and sign up for an amazing conference to sit here and talk with a bunch of people today. And as soon as I hit this on button, I'm in touch with planet Earth through something called the Google. And it's just incredible to me. So when you talk about that social dynamic, purpose, story, meaning making, sharing, different words come to mind here when I think about this, is that there's one, approaching the objective, using the scientific method, using the ways of critical thinking that we have at hand to throw out a thesis and test that thesis, and either accept or reject that thesis, and realize you're going to reject a thesis more than you're ever going to accept one. Because the idea here is that learning never stops, right? So when you're talking about that social connection, well, here's me in relationship to the world, and here's the world in relationship to me. The fun part about that, eco-literacy and spiritual eco-literacy talks about recognizing those interconnections, that interdependent notion. Well, it's me and the world. No, it's not me and the world. It's just the world. It's kind of cool that as a human being, I get to hang out for this very brief and momentary existence and have some sort of mutual cause and effect relationship going on here in my life. That's where the word ecological comes into play. Spiritual eco-literacy is about learning how to see yourself in relationship to the personal, local, and global. And ecological expands that to the entire living system of being in something called the cosmos, right? Because our life extends beyond just my immediate experience of New Jersey, my family, to New Jersey, to the United States, to click Google. Now I'm hanging out in India this morning, and that's really beautiful and really neat. Thank you for an amazing opportunity. That's ecological, seeing that whole big picture and how all these different parts come together. Alison has been a friend and colleague of mine for a number of years now. We went through our doctorate program together. Here we are still connected just at the global level. Wow, it's a really amazing, So when we sit here and we tell our stories, we tell stories about who we are, who we think we are. But now the fun part about this, if you hit the next slide for me there, Alison. About this is like, okay, so you have this knowledge, you have this information, you gather all this, you're learning how to feel with it. Practice becomes part of that. To me, all this needs to be grounded. If you're going to see the transformations and changes that living and learning have in our lives, it's going to take a form of practice. Practice is always a fun word for us as human beings, right? You hear the word practice and, I'm good today, I'm feeling tired. This is where that motivation question creeps in there again. Here you are, all students, and here you are, students engaging in your academic journey and engaging in an academic journey in a very difficult time. Our world is not easy right now. I don't know about other folks, but just as a story from my background here, I have been on what I feel like has been a 1-year involuntary retreat. And there's been 2 ways I can engage that idea of playing it safe for the rest of the people that are around me with that idea of self-quarantining myself, is to take a look at who I am, what I got going on, and what can I can put out there for the world using the mediums that we have. You know, again, with this entire pandemic happening right now and everything that's going on around us, politically, philosophically, spiritually, religiously, economically, a lot of questions at play. Practice allows you to be able to remember, you know, when we're talking about spiritual literacy here and doing what we do in this life, the practice of it is bringing those ideas together. Where does that motivation and purpose spill out into your existence, and how do you go about doing it? Becomes part of that important question of practice. And then, Alison, if you would hit the last slide for me. Thank you. Bringing it all together. Practice, pedagogy, and outcomes, right? So when you talk about this idea of practice, pedagogy, and outcomes, here we are as educators and working with different ways of thinking and learning. Here we are as students. By the way, I am as much a student as I am an educator, because there's always something more to learn in this life, right? So here I am thinking about this idea of spiritual equiliteracy, scaffolding, standing on the shoulders of giants and trying to put my ideas out there in the world. Why? It's all about that idea of knowledge building. You know, knowledge to me is important because knowledge alleviates ignorance, right? Ignorance is just not knowing. Ignorance is not me sitting here going, I'm dumb or I'm stupid, any of those kinds of words that we used to kind of put each other down or put ourselves down. Knowledge, you know, when you talk about that idea of knowledge, knowledge alleviates ignorance. Ignorance to me alleviates suffering, because the more I know, the more I can do. And if I steer that idea of the more I know, the more I can do, then it can come from a place of, and space of generosity, kindness, compassion, and respect, realizing all the different connections that exist between systems and ways of being in this life. For me, in turn, kind of turns on this idea of being able to garner this interdependent awareness. Interdependent awareness is something for me that is a lifetime. There are some days where I jive and groove okay with the world, and other days where it's like, I don't want to get out of bed today. Interdependent awareness allows me to realize that for myself as a human being, with that notion of motivation, with the alleviation of ignorance, with that idea of pushing past and trying to take what I know and connect it with what I do, that awareness gets to come to be, right? And now the idea here is that enough knowledge through experience, hopefully wisdom, becomes the outcome. You know, when you talk about practice, pedagogy, and outcome, the idea, well, why should I gain all this knowledge? Well, it helps you alleviate ignorance. It helps you become more aware of who you are, who the world, you know, the surrounding or community around you is, and who the world is. Acquiring knowledge, connecting it with experience is usually what we equate with wisdom. And now whether or not we all grow older and become wise is always a big question. And me to that idea is if the, you know, one of the most important things to do at the end of every day is question everything. You know, part of that idea of spiritual equiliteracy and providing these lenses and being able to have this kind of self and world view in that way, shape, and form allows me to sit with critical thinking. Now, when I say critical thinking, I think it's important here too. When you're asking yourself and using critical thinking processes on yourself, it's important to be stern yet gentle, you know, in that way, because again, as far as you know, you have every day of the rest of your life to learn what you're going to learn in this life. You know, the one thing you can know about this particular moment is you're alive in it. You're alive in this moment. So part of that question is, yeah, what are you doing with it and what are you bringing to it in that way, shape, and form? So Alison, Dr. Binger will pass it back over your direction.
So how cultural competency will impact you in your life, it doesn't matter what your degree is in. We are in a world where we're all connected through technology. So at some point, if you're not interacting with different cultures, you more than likely will at some point. And even within one culture, there are subcultures. So within America, we have a ton of different subcultures. And so just understanding how to interact appropriately with other people will make a tremendous difference for everyone. Learning about your own culture will help you to interact with ease and grace within your own culture and subcultures. And then learning about different cultures will help you communicate effectively and succeed at whatever the task is that you're trying to accomplish. Suspending your judgment will help you learn at a much deeper level and connect with people at a much deeper level. Gathering multiple viewpoints and synthesizing them will give you a whole picture of what's going on rather than a narrow view. Respecting others' differences will help introduce new elements, fresh elements into your world. Sometimes I think people can become uncomfortable with differences, but it doesn't have to be that way. You can see it as something new and exciting. And your body might react, you know, a little differently than you're used to, and that's okay. It's okay. Sometimes that allows you to let in newness. And then lead with courage and empathy. I think that is so important. You may be the only one in the group who is willing to speak up, be courageous, and have empathy for everybody and what they're going through. Mike, I'll pass it back over to you.
Great. Empathy is one of my favorite words. You know, empathy, compassion, you know, throwing generosity in there. Think about the word respect. You know, when I'm reading too, when I hear about cultural competency, is looking for those places and spaces of harmony, looking for places and spaces to agree, to disagree, and to agree to disagree. You know, and pulling it around in that way. And again, from that eco-literacy or spiritual eco-literacy perspective, the idea is bringing deliberate attention to what you do. It's mindful attention. It's bringing yourself with a state of awareness for that what you do matters in this life. You do have an impact. You will have an effect. It's with everything that you have happening in your existence. Again, this involves using your head. Here's the cognitive processes, just studying it on that pure, rudimentary, beautiful, earthly, biological science of life and living. It's great to crawl around in the dirt. It's great to play in the dirt. It's great to learn about what dirt does. Because if dirt didn't do what dirt does, we wouldn't be having this conversation. So think about that and all those ideas of connections. There's the cognitive, biological, knowledge harvesting, gaining knowledge, cultivating knowledge. Heart is intelligence. You know, again, heart kind of just to calculate their heart in that sense is our intelligence. Knowing what to do with knowledge once we have it is intelligence. So there's social intelligence, there's emotional intelligence, and then there's spiritual intelligence. You can even include ecological intelligence in there. Intelligence is that idea of sharpening your skills with knowledge. Once you sharpen those skills with knowledge, application, hands-on experience comes into play. There's contact and realization that that's infused with spirit, purpose, and meaning making. Yeah, this is why I do what I do. You know, again, part of the motivation here is that hopefully, and idealistically speaking, that here's why I do what I do, and the intentions behind that is to ideally help. And that's it, help. Just be kind for the sake of being kind and no other reason. But first you need to know what kindness is. First gain information about kindness. Now you have information about kindness, you got to think about what you're going to do with kindness. And the only way that happens is by going out there and working with success and failure, trial and error. So there's science. The humanities comes along, it feels like this. Science goes, well, this is what you need to do. Feelings come along and say, hey, science, but yeah, you need to connect with why we might want to do that with that purpose and intention behind it. Next thing you know, you're building bridges between schools of thought that I think personally have been driven apart for far too long. I think it's very important that objective and subjective meets, and that's why I was very excited about this conference, to hear that idea of social sciences and the humanities coming together with the sciences. To me, that's it. To me, if we don't make that jump at this stage of the game and in the way we learn and live as human beings, we might be in for a lot more trouble than we realize. So to me, it is very important, that idea of bringing the objective and subjective experience together, because holistically speaking, I think that's who we are. We're hanging out with really neat, you know, bunch of earth beings running around here going, hi, how's my hair looking? How are you today? You know, is one way that that's thought of. So just with the last second here, I'd like to just ask everybody to just kind of sit up in your chair for a minute there. Taking a very deep breath. It's nighttime now over where you are, and the roosters are crowing over here. But yeah, just remember to take a deep breath and just feel yourself in your body for a second there. Yeah, wow, life, and I'm doing it. Next thing I'd like to ask you to do is just take your right hand and stretch it up over the back of your head like this, as high as you can take it. Reach up, feel that, and let your body say, wow, yeah, you're alive, type of an idea. Let that right hand drop down behind your left shoulder. And let it fall right back there over your left shoulder, and then give it a quick pat like this. Take your hand like that and go like that and say, yeah, you're doing a good job in this life. Welcome to life and living. Welcome to being a human being on this planet. You're still here and doing something in very challenging and trying times. So that's it. I'd like to pass it back to Dr. Bringer, say thank you for having us here this morning. It's an honor to be able to sit here and talk in such a place and space.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am and sir, for being so humble and interactive. Your propositions and suggestions are truly worth noting, and I'm sure our participants have a lot of takeaway at the end of the day. Now, I would like to bring to the notice of the participants that the feedback form can be accessed clicking on the link given in the YouTube live chat and Google Meet chat box. We await your suggestions, inputs if any, and your day one experience. We have now come towards the conclusion of the first day of this 1 week international conference, before which I would like to pay gratitude to one and all who helped make this approach turn in reality. I thank the management of SFS College and Principal Sir Dr. Katie Thomas for conducting this conference. I would thank once again all our eminent speakers who, despite their busy schedule, joined us from all around the globe. I thank the organizing committee for all their efforts. Thank you, dear participant, for being such patient listener new session of this international conference with other interesting topics and scholarly speakers. Till then, stay tuned, stay home, and stay safe. Thank you very much.